Intermittent fasting, or IF, has become one of the most talked about dietary strategies in recent years. It's more than just a passing trend. Many individuals claim it has helped them lose weight, improve metabolic health, and even boost mental clarity. But as with any health practice that gains popularity, it's important to ask, is intermittent fasting actually safe? To begin answering this question, we need to explore what intermittent fasting really entails. Unlike traditional diets that focus on what you eat, intermittent fasting is concerned with when you eat. The most common method involves daily fasting windows, such as the 16:8 approach, fasting for 16 hours and eating within an 8-hour window. Other variations include the 5:2 diet, where individuals eat normally for 5 days of the week and restrict calories to 500 to 600 on the remaining 2 days. There's also alternate day fasting and more extreme versions like OMAD, 1 meal a day. The first thing to understand is the mechanism behind intermittent fasting. When you fast, your body undergoes changes at the cellular and hormonal levels. For example, insulin levels drop significantly, which facilitates fat burning. Human growth hormone levels can increase, potentially aiding in fat loss and muscle gain. Cells initiate repair processes like autophagy, which may have protective benefits for aging and disease prevention. Additionally, short-term fasting may improve metabolic features such as blood sugar regulation, cholesterol levels, and inflammation markers. These biological shifts are the backbone of the benefits many people report when they try intermittent fasting. However, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. One of the biggest benefits of intermittent fasting is weight loss. Many people struggle with constant snacking and portion control, and the time-restricted nature of IF naturally limits opportunities to overeat. Additionally, some studies suggest intermittent fasting may be just as effective, if not more so, than standard calorie restriction diets. The simplicity of skip breakfast or eat between 12 and 8 is appealing to many who are tired of tracking calories and macronutrients. There's also evidence that intermittent fasting may improve insulin sensitivity, lower fasting glucose levels, and reduce visceral fat, all of which contribute to better metabolic health and lower risks for diseases like type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular conditions. Furthermore, some people report increased energy and focus during fasting periods, potentially due to stabilized blood sugar and a reduction in post-meal crashes. There are also preliminary findings indicating that intermittent fasting may support brain health, possibly by promoting BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and reducing oxidative stress. Despite these potential upsides, intermittent fasting is not without its downsides. It's important to acknowledge the physical and mental toll that restricting food intake can place on the body. One common side effect is hunger, especially during the initial adjustment period. People may experience irritability, mood swings, fatigue, and headaches as the body adapts to longer fasting periods. There is also a risk of nutrient deficiency if meals during eating windows are not balanced and rich in essential vitamins and minerals. Moreover, those with certain medical conditions, such as diabetes, low blood pressure, or eating disorders, should consult healthcare professionals before starting any form of fasting. Women in particular may need to be cautious. Some evidence suggests that intermittent fasting may affect hormone balance, especially for those of reproductive age. It might disrupt menstrual cycles or cause fatigue and anxiety if not approached with care. It's also possible for fasting to lead to binge eating during eating windows, which can cancel out the caloric deficit created by fasting and even lead to weight gain or disordered eating behaviors. Another concern is the social aspect of eating. Family meals, work lunches, and other social events often fall outside the chosen eating window, which can make adherence difficult or socially isolating. These challenges are important to consider for long-term sustainability. Safety also depends on how intermittent fasting is implemented. A person skipping meals but then consuming processed junk food during their eating window will not see the same benefits as someone who focuses on nutrient-dense meals with adequate protein, fiber, and healthy fats. The quality of food remains essential. Additionally, staying hydrated and managing stress levels are crucial factors that can impact the success or failure of intermittent fasting. It's not a magic solution, but a tool that can be used effectively when combined with a healthy lifestyle. In short, intermittent fasting can offer substantial short-term benefits, especially for weight loss, insulin sensitivity, and metabolic health. But it's not suitable for everyone, and its safety is highly dependent on individual health conditions, eating patterns, and psychological factors. It's crucial to approach intermittent fasting with a clear understanding of its mechanisms, realistic expectations, and a focus on nutritional quality. Fasting shouldn't be a way to punish the body, but a method to potentially enhance its functioning. Listening to your body's signals and adjusting your strategy accordingly is more important than rigidly sticking to a schedule that causes stress or harm. Intermittent fasting, when done correctly, can be a safe and effective tool, but like all tools, it must be used wisely. As more people experiment with intermittent fasting, a key question arises: what are the short-term results one can realistically expect? While individual experiences vary widely, many people report noticeable changes within just 1 to 2 weeks of starting an intermittent fasting regimen. The most immediate and commonly observed effect is weight loss. This is usually due to a natural reduction in calorie intake caused by fewer eating hours and less frequent snacking. People who adopt a 16:8 method or alternate day fasting often find that simply skipping 1 or 2 meals leads to a caloric deficit, which can result in losing anywhere from 1 to 4 pounds in the first week. Some of this weight may be water loss due to reduced insulin levels, as insulin causes the kidneys to retain sodium and water. Alongside weight loss, many users report a decrease in bloating and digestive discomfort. This happens because the digestive system gets longer rest periods, allowing the gut to function more efficiently. It's not uncommon for people to feel lighter and less sluggish, even after just a few days of fasting. There can also be improvements in blood sugar levels and insulin sensitivity within a short time frame, especially in individuals who previously had poor dietary habits or insulin resistance. However, it's important to differentiate between short-term benefits and sustainable health improvements. A quick drop in weight or blood sugar doesn't necessarily indicate long-term success. In the initial stages, people often feel more alert and energetic during fasting windows. This could be linked to increased production of norepinephrine, a hormone that enhances focus and alertness as the body shifts to fat burning for energy. Some studies suggest cognitive function may be improved temporarily during fasting, although the research is still limited. On the flip side, the short-term adaptation phase can be uncomfortable. Many people go through what is often referred to as the fasting flu in the first few days. Symptoms include fatigue, dizziness, irritability, and cravings. This happens as the body transitions from burning glucose to burning fat. For most, these symptoms subside after a few days to a week, but they can be discouraging and may lead to premature quitting if not expected. To manage these symptoms, hydration is key. Drinking plenty of water, as well as consuming mineral-rich broths or adding a pinch of sea salt to water, can help counteract electrolyte imbalances. It's also advisable to avoid intense physical activity during the first few days of fasting until energy levels stabilize. Sleep patterns may also be affected in the beginning. Some people experience insomnia or wake up earlier than usual. This could be due to hormonal changes or simply the discomfort of hunger. Others find that fasting improves sleep over time, especially when evening meals are consumed earlier in the day. One of the most promising short-term results of intermittent fasting is the sense of control and discipline it builds. Setting clear boundaries around when to eat helps many people break free from emotional or impulsive eating habits. Knowing that food is not constantly available may make people more intentional with their meal choices and more appreciative of the food they do consume. This mindfulness can translate into better portion control, healthier food selections, and an overall more structured eating pattern. Still, it's worth noting that intermittent fasting is not a one-size-fits-all solution. While some individuals thrive on a 16:8 schedule, others may find it unsustainable or even detrimental. For example, those with high caloric needs, such as athletes or people with physically demanding jobs, may struggle to consume adequate nutrition within a limited time window. Likewise, people with a history of disordered eating should approach fasting with extreme caution. The structured nature of intermittent fasting can trigger binging or obsessive behaviors around food, particularly when hunger cues are ignored or suppressed. Mental health plays a vital role in dietary success, and fasting should never compromise emotional well-being. Tracking progress is also essential in the short term. Monitoring not only weight and measurements but also energy levels, mood, and sleep quality can help determine if fasting is working for you. Some people benefit from journaling their daily experiences or using mobile apps to track fasting windows and food intake. This data can help identify patterns and inform adjustments, such as changing the eating window or adding small snacks before or after workouts to maintain performance. For those wondering what kind of physical transformation can be seen after 2 to 4 weeks, the answer is modest but meaningful. A noticeable reduction in belly bloat, a few pounds of fat loss, clearer skin, and slightly better focus are common outcomes. Blood pressure may also slightly decrease, and fasting glucose levels tend to improve, especially for people who had pre-diabetic markers. However, these results are only sustainable if the eating windows are filled with nutrient-dense foods rather than processed snacks and sugar-laden meals. A fast food feast during your 8-hour eating window will undo many of the potential benefits of fasting. To enhance short-term results, combining intermittent fasting with other healthy lifestyle habits is strongly recommended. Light to moderate exercise, such as walking, yoga, or strength training, can accelerate fat burning and improve insulin sensitivity. Likewise, focusing on whole foods like vegetables, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, and healthy fats during eating periods ensures the body receives essential nutrients to function well during fasts. Ultimately, the first few weeks of intermittent fasting are a learning curve. While many see encouraging results quickly, it's critical not to overhype the short-term benefits or expect miracles. If it's a lifestyle tool, not a crash diet, and its real power lies in consistent, long-term use guided by smart food choices and self-awareness. Despite the growing popularity of intermittent fasting, it's crucial to take a balanced look at its potential downsides and who might not benefit from this approach. While many people experience weight loss and increased energy, others may face negative physical and psychological effects, especially if fasting is approached carelessly or pushed beyond the body's limits. One of the most commonly reported issues is the development of disordered eating patterns. For some, the act of restricting food to certain hours may lead to an unhealthy obsession with food and time. This can create cycles of binging and restriction, particularly if fasting windows are broken in a way that feels like a failure. People who have previously struggled with anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating disorder may find intermittent fasting too rigid or even triggering. It's also important to note that hunger is not just a physical signal, it's influenced by hormones, sleep, stress, and emotion. Ignoring hunger during fasting periods may lead to emotional instability, poor concentration, and reduced motivation. Another risk lies in nutrient deficiencies. Fewer meals and shorter eating windows can make it more difficult to consume adequate amounts of essential nutrients such as fiber, protein, calcium, iron, magnesium, and B vitamins. This is especially true for individuals who follow restrictive diets like veganism or have high nutrient demands due to pregnancy, breastfeeding, or intense physical activity. Without careful meal planning, people may feel fatigued, irritable, or even experience hair loss, weakened immunity, and poor recovery from exercise. For women, the risks may be even more significant. Research indicates that fasting can impact hormone regulation in ways that may affect fertility, menstrual cycles, and thyroid function. Estrogen and progesterone are highly sensitive to energy intake and stress, and if the body perceives fasting as a threat to survival, it may down-regulate reproductive hormones. This doesn't mean all women will experience problems, but caution is advised. A more flexible approach, such as a 12-12 fasting schedule or skipping breakfast only a few days a week, may be better suited to women, particularly those with hormonal conditions like PCOS or irregular periods. Intermittent fasting may also pose challenges for people with chronic health conditions. Individuals with diabetes, particularly those on insulin or blood sugar-lowering medications, must consult a doctor before attempting fasting. Sudden changes in eating patterns can lead to hypoglycemia, dangerously low blood sugar levels, which can cause dizziness, fainting, or even seizures. People with low blood pressure, gastrointestinal conditions, or adrenal fatigue may also struggle with fasting, especially if hydration and electrolyte intake are not closely monitored. From a social perspective, intermittent fasting can be isolating. Birthday parties, dinners with friends, business lunches, and weekend brunches often fall outside strict eating windows. Constantly explaining your eating schedule to others or avoiding social events due to fasting rules can create tension and reduce quality of life. Some people become overly rigid, prioritizing fasting over human connection or relaxation. This rigidity can become a problem when the pursuit of health begins to negatively affect social and emotional well-being. There are also psychological factors to consider. Fasting requires discipline, but not everyone has the same mental resilience. If fasting starts to feel like punishment, or if it causes anxiety about breaking the rules, it can do more harm than good. Emotional stress, combined with caloric restriction, can raise cortisol levels, which not only makes weight loss harder but also increases the risk of insomnia, irritability, and inflammation. High cortisol levels may also lead to abdominal fat retention, directly contradicting one of the main goals of fasting. Additionally, not all intermittent fasting strategies are equal in terms of safety. While a 14 to 16-hour fast is generally safe for healthy adults, more extreme forms like 24-hour fasting, alternate day fasting, or OMAD, one meal a day, can pose risks. These approaches significantly reduce the opportunity to nourish the body and may lead to energy crashes, mood swings, muscle loss, and disrupted metabolism over time. They should only be attempted under medical supervision and with appropriate planning. The quality of the diet during eating windows is another critical factor. Some people fall into the trap of reward eating, consuming highly processed or calorie-dense foods after a fast under the belief that they've earned it. This behavior not only undermines the purpose of fasting but also puts extra stress on the digestive system. Eating large, heavy meals after a long fast can lead to bloating, indigestion, and insulin spikes. To mitigate these risks, it's essential to break fasts gently with nutrient-rich, balanced meals. Starting with protein, fiber, and healthy fats can stabilize blood sugar and provide long-lasting energy. Meal prepping and planning ahead also make it easier to make good food choices during limited eating windows. Ultimately, intermittent fasting should be viewed as one strategy among many, not a universal fix for weight loss or health. It's not about depriving yourself, but about finding a rhythm that supports your individual lifestyle and body. For some, that means eating 3 meals a day with no snacks. For others, it may involve fasting only on weekdays or adjusting windows based on social and work schedules. Flexibility and self-awareness are key. Listening to your body and adapting when necessary will lead to better outcomes than rigidly adhering to a plan that causes stress or harm. Safety in intermittent fasting is not just about the absence of disease, it's about maintaining balance, energy, and joy in your relationship with food. When these elements are in place, fasting can be a useful tool, but it should never replace the fundamentals of good nutrition and mindful self-care. For those who decide to try intermittent fasting, achieving the best results, while keeping safety in mind, requires more than just watching the clock. The real success of this approach lies in how it is implemented and adapted to your body's needs. One of the first and most important tips is to start slow. If your body is used to eating frequently, jumping straight into a 16:8 or OMAD schedule can be a shock to the system. A gentler approach, like 12-12 or 14-10, allows the body to ease into the new rhythm, reducing the chances of extreme hunger, headaches, or energy crashes. Gradually increasing the fasting window over a week or two can make the transition much smoother and more sustainable. Another essential practice is prioritizing hydration. During fasting windows, it's easy to forget to drink enough fluids. Dehydration can intensify hunger, cause fatigue, and lead to dizziness or headaches. Drinking water throughout the day, as well as unsweetened herbal teas or black coffee, can help keep the body functioning optimally during a fast. For those doing longer fasts, adding electrolytes or a pinch of salt to water may help maintain balance and prevent symptoms like muscle cramps or lightheadedness. Eating nutrient-dense meals during the eating window is key. Fasting is not an excuse to skip nutrition. A successful intermittent fasting plan includes meals that are rich in whole foods, vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. These foods provide satiety, energy, and the nutrients needed to support cellular repair, brain function, and metabolic health. Protein is especially important as it supports muscle maintenance and helps regulate appetite. Each meal should aim for balance, include a source of protein, healthy fat, fiber, and complex carbohydrates. Avoid ultra-processed foods and excessive sugar, which can spike insulin, cause energy crashes, and undo many of the benefits of fasting. Equally important is listening to your body. If you find yourself feeling constantly weak, irritable, or obsessed with food, it may be a sign that your fasting method is not suitable. Intermittent fasting should feel empowering, not restrictive or punishing. There is no shame in adjusting the schedule, taking a break, or even abandoning fasting altogether if it does not suit your physical or mental health. Fasting is a tool, not a rule, and the best results come when it's used in a way that respects your body's natural rhythms. Tracking your progress and paying attention to changes can help refine your fasting practice. Rather than only focusing on weight loss, Observe improvements in energy, digestion, mood, sleep, and productivity. Take note of how your body responds to different eating windows, meal compositions, and activity levels. Using a journal or an app to log your experiences can highlight patterns and help you personalize your approach for long-term success. Incorporating light to moderate exercise during fasting can also enhance results. Walking, yoga, or bodyweight workouts during fasting periods may help burn fat more efficiently and maintain muscle mass. However, it's important to listen to your energy levels and avoid overtraining, especially during longer fasts. For more intense workouts, it's often better to schedule them close to the beginning of your eating window so you can refuel immediately afterward. One of the most overlooked aspects of successful intermittent fasting is mindset. Fasting should not be driven by guilt, fear of food, or pressure to look a certain way. Instead, it should be approached with curiosity and the goal of improving your relationship with food and your body. Celebrating non-scale victories, like better concentration, fewer sugar cravings, or more stable energy throughout the day, can be more motivating than watching the numbers on the scale. If fasting becomes a source of stress, anxiety, or social conflict, it's time to reassess. Flexibility is your friend. Life doesn't follow a perfect schedule, and your eating habits shouldn't have to either. It's okay to shift your eating window for a family dinner or vacation. The goal is consistency over time, not perfection. Missing one fasting day won't erase progress. What matters most is returning to a routine that works for you. Support can also play a significant role. Having a friend, family member, or online community who is also exploring intermittent fasting can provide encouragement, accountability, and shared tips. Learning from others' experiences can help you avoid common pitfalls and stay motivated. Finally, consider checking in with a healthcare professional before starting intermittent fasting, especially if you have any existing health conditions, are on medication, or have concerns about how fasting might affect you. A doctor or registered dietitian can help tailor a plan that suits your specific needs and ensures you're not missing vital nutrients. In conclusion, intermittent fasting can be a safe and effective strategy for improving health and managing weight when done mindfully. Its benefits go beyond the scale, potentially enhancing insulin sensitivity, digestion, cognitive function, and energy levels. However, it's not without risks, especially for people with certain medical conditions or a history of disordered eating. The key to success lies in personalization, flexibility, and nourishing the body with high-quality foods. With the right approach, intermittent fasting can become a sustainable lifestyle tool that supports long-term health, not just a short-term fix. But always remember, the best dietary approach is one that aligns with your goals, your body, and your life, not one that causes more stress than it solves.